explained to him that for him coming out with information that he alleges he witnessed the commission of the crime in his presence will not immune him from being a suspect that can be later arrested and charged for the same crime. He admitted that he understands and he wishes to proceed with the statement, and he wants to give statement under oath, and the interview continued. Commissioner, so as not to compromise this case, I will not divulge the full details of the incident because it's not yet in court. This case is still under investigation with no formal charges against any of the suspects. During the meeting, he told us about an incident which occurred on 14 April 2022 at around 9, wherein an unknown African male was murdered by police officers and another male was murdered by police officers and another male known to him. He later dumped his body at Spaarwater Dam. On this paragraph, Marius explained as to how this crime was committed, as he was explaining to the commission. But some few facts that he never mentioned to us that came out here. He related the series of events as to how did it came that the deceased was tortured there until he lost his life. But when he was relating to me, he was relating as if he was trying to talk to these officers, including this one male, because according to him, it was 2 police officers and 1 white male that were busy with the deceased, torturing him. Himself, he was there to talk to this suspect, busy asking him, begging him to say, please tell us where did you take the goods to. Every now and then he will talk to this white male who was suffocating the deceased, saying, please don't forget that we are here looking for goods. He must tell us where are the goods. So he was coming out to us as if he didn't play part in the torturing of the deceased, but he witnessed it.
We are now at your paragraph 44.
Marius provided the details of the incident in his statement that he later went through it in the presence of the team. He confirmed that the statement was true reflection of what he has related, and he placed his signature in our presence and dated the 30th of September 2022, where it was obtained.
Can I just ask a question, Ms. Masuku? Was this statement now consistent with the earlier handwritten statement? Remember, around April, you had met him somewhere where, because it was not safe, you couldn't interview him. But on that date, you took possession of a handwritten statement that was not commissioned. Now, the later statement, was it consistent with the earlier one?
Yes, Commissioners, it was, even though the wording, it's a few things that differs, but it was still consistent with what he was relating to us.
The substance was the same?
Yes, it was, Commissioner.
Before you proceed, Ms. Masuku, Commissioner Khumalo, I think just to correct something, her testimony is that the handwritten statement, I think, was obtained between July and August, as she states, at paragraph 34. You said April, just to correct that. Thank you. And Ms. Masuku, you, on that paragraph, you then introduce an annexure, you mark NPM 13, and you say it's a copy of Mr. van der Merwe's statement. Please pull out your annexure bundle. It's Masuku annexures. And that particular document you have marked NPM 3 starts at, your NPM 3, let me say, starts at page 7 of that bundle.
Okay, I'm there, Commissioners.
Now, I see it starts off with this statement, Marius van der Merwe states under oath in English, and then it proceeds. I want to refer you to the last page at page 10. You had indicated that the earlier handwritten statement was not commissioned. And looking at this statement, in this statement, without, of course, divulging all its full details that you would like to highlight. You may do so later if you so choose.
Okay, Commissioners, even though I will highlight that later, but what I can say now is maybe the question might come because this case has been out ever since this commission of inquiry started. A lot of inquiries were received to my office, and mostly they will be relating to say, if Marius came out that earlier, which is 2022, that's long ago, why were these other suspects not arrested? Because Marius did mention them in the commission of that crime. I will get to that because Marius gave statement under oath. And when he was giving the statement, as I explained to say, I read him his rights so that he understands as to where is he putting himself to. There is no promise that as an investigating officer I can make to say, later you will be a state witness under Section 204 as it has been mentioned. On the day when I took down his statement, I never mentioned that. Hence, I explained to him to say, whatever that you're saying now, you may later be charged together with these other people. You are not immune to the commission of that crime. On the 22nd of November 2022, the crime scene was reconstructed. Mr. Marius van der Merwe was guiding and pointing out the crime scene to the investigator. The crime scene reconstruction photos were taken by a photographer from the Springs Local Criminal Record Center, who later compiled the photo album regarding that. The photo album is attached on the case docket. Now, the reason for reconstruction of the scene, we had now to do the whole investigation, even though sometimes we'll be reversing back. That is why yesterday I was saying if this matter had been reported on time to IPID, it was going to save time to finalize our investigation. But now because we have to do things later.
And, you said it yesterday as well. The reality is that you got to know of this the very, I shouldn't even say the very following day, because this was 14 and 15. So you got to know of it during the day on the 15th. So yes, the police attended to the crime scene and you were not involved, but still, it's the very same day as it were, or part of the day or days on which this occurred. It's the 15th, the very following day, or the same day, because as I say, part of it is the 15th. Can you explain this loss of time? Because you say, had you been notified earlier, the investigation would have been finalized much earlier. Loss of time is quite minimal. Can you explain this?
Commissioner, I think maybe if I did mention it like that, but I don't remember because that's not the sequence of events. I get to know about the case after the deceased was buried. It was weeks later after the incident, not on the 15th. It's the police who got to know on the 15th of April, not my office.
And if perhaps I may assist the commissioners, she started paragraph 16, which is how she became aware of the incident. There's no specific date granted given there, but it's the month. And then she just explained the circumstances.
Oh, all right. I guess I got confused. My apologies.
No problem,
I thought you also got to hear about it on the 15th.
Yes, it's the SAPS.
The fisherman's day, as it were.
Yes, Commissioner. It was the fishermen and the SAPS because they recovered the body. So they knew it. That is why I'm saying they knew earlier. It was just hours after it happened.
Are you able to tell then after how long it was when you got to know from the 15th?
Commissioner, I can estimate because it was after the funeral, I will say 2 weeks later. It was after he was buried because when I was talking to them, they were saying, no, we buried him. So then me visiting them, maybe it was towards the end of April, beginning of May. But unfortunately, I don't have the exact date. Yes.
Can you, okay, fine, now I have the correct facts, but can you still explain, would it have been a matter of weeks? Was it more than a month? Are you not able to tell? But if you are able to tell and say it was a matter of weeks, I will still go back to my question. And I just want to understand the loss of time that resulted in the investigation taking as much as it did, taking as long as it did.
Commissioner, let me estimate at plus minus 3 weeks after the death. Yes. So going back to the Commissioner's question to say, was it time lost if I got it after 2 or 3 weeks? Yes. Even if I got it after 2 days, there was already time lost. Because for me, I need to be at that scene before the body can be collected. I need to be able to investigate whatever that might help me on that scene before the scene is being contaminated. So for me, if I get it after 2 days, it's too late for me. The investigation will go like this case now. But for the case that I was there, when the body was still there, I find it cordoned off, I took over the crime scene, the investigation, the time becomes lesser because I know from onset as to this is what transpired at the scene, these are the exhibits I got from the scene. But now here, I had to recreate the evidence on this matter. That is the reason I'm saying it was too late. Even if it was a day or two, as long as the scene was no longer there, it was too late.
Thank you.
If perhaps, and for clarity, I may follow up on that and retrace very briefly your steps from yesterday's testimony. You testified yesterday about the matter initially being registered as an inquest at the Duduza police station. My question, as an inquest, would you have authority to investigate it as IPID?
Commissioners, yes. We do have cases at IPID that come registered as inquest.
Yes.
Like, for an example, most of the cases when there was a shootout between the suspects and the police, and then there is evidence that really this deceased person was shooting at the police, the SAPS doesn't register murder against the police. They will register an inquest case. Even though we're investigating it, but it will be registered on case as inquest. But we will take over the investigation to take it to the decision. Then if it goes to NPA, then they turn it to say, no, somebody must be charged. We go back to the station to say, we are changing this case from inquest to murder because we are charging criminally. Yes, we do investigate inquest. If there was still involvement of the police in this, but the death was not determined, maybe the doctor is saying, because there are no injuries. For an example, let's say he was tortured. Okay, I think for the commissioners it's very important to explain those. As if we go back to Marius van der Merwe's version, he was not assaulted, he was tortured. So possibly he was not sustained injury that we can see, the visible injury, and died through suffocation. The police found him, he doesn't have injuries. He goes to the mortuary, postmortem is done. The doctor says, I can't determine anything here. Then the doctor says natural causes. But still, because there is a witness that is saying there were police officers when he went missing here, I was going to still investigate it so that we can exonerate the police officers to the family to say, yes, they were there, but they didn't kill him. This is the proof as to how did it came about that he was found dead here. Then after that investigation has been done, then we take the docket back to the SAPS.
Okay, thank you for that question, because that, I think, goes in large part to the question the chair posed to you. If you refer to your paragraph 20 at page 6, that's when you traced the case to Duduza police station, and you attached a document there marked NPM 1, and then it was an inquest. You recall that? You testified to that. At your page 6, paragraph 20.
Okay.
Now, overleaf at page 7, at paragraph 23, you then introduce the post-mortem report, which you have marked NPM 1, Roman 1. We looked at that post-mortem report yesterday, and it's dated the 9th of May, 2022. It is only later at paragraph 25 where you succeed in converting the inquest inquiry into a murder charge registered at Brakpan.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Based on the answer that you just gave, why is it then you did not start with your investigations either when you became aware of the inquest itself, registered inquest, alternatively as at the 9th of May 2022, or shortly thereafter, after you received the post-mortem report? On the statement, you make it sound like you could only begin after the conversion to a murder case. Perhaps we misunderstood you and you might want to correct us. Thank you.
Okay. The reason I couldn't take over the investigation immediately to say it's IPID's investigation, I had to prove the involvement of the police officers. I have to be sure that indeed the police officers were there. let's say if I had personally interviewed the witness and confirmed to me to say there were police officers here, I was going to immediately take over the investigation of that matter. But because I haven't found this witness, then I must check the death as to how did he die then. Because if he died of unnatural cause, still the police must answer to that. So after the conversion of the charge from inquest to murder, then that is when I fully took over the investigation. I'm not sure if I'm responding correctly to you.
Well, the commissioners are nodding, most importantly. Thanks.
I'm not sure, commissioners, if it's cleared. I'm trying to clear it. I'm not sure if it makes sense.
Ms. Sillo, just for our records, I think from second sentence of paragraph 2 of 20, it's a lot clearer there, because she says, I could not transfer the case docket to IPID because I was still conducting the preliminary investigation to ascertain if there were indeed involvement of police officers. An inquest docket traditionally contains a statement.
And that's what she testified to yesterday. So the commissioners are clarified. Thank you, Ms. Masuku.
Thanks, commissioners.
Then we try and find our place again. We are now at page 12. We were dealing with Mr. Van der Merwe's statement, which is your NPM 3, which was commissioned on the 30th of September 2022. You recall that's where we were at?
Yes.
You had said that you wanted to highlight some aspects from that statement at this moment, although you'll return to it. Had you completed that exercise? I think you were interrupted by the chair's question, which now we have answered. You can pick it up from there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. I will reread this paragraph. On the 22nd